From now on, my full-time job is finding a guy who's going to take care of me.
You guys are responsible for me and everything else that comes with me.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the MST channel, where we talk about all things hypergamy. I am back with chapter 8 of In Too Deep, Gambling for a Married Man's Heart. Just like that, I had Mr. Hodges wrapped around my finger. He saw that I was into him just as much as he was into me. At least that's how I portrayed it. I cannot allow my feelings to get in the way of money. After all, I saw that this was my way out of poverty, and I was determined not to look back. The day has finally came. Today is the day when I will leave the Hodges household for good. I was no longer a maid after today. I gathered my things and I put on a nice dress and some heels, because after I left here, I would be meeting up with Maria to celebrate. I put on one of the dresses Mr. Hodges purchased for me, and the Renee Calvilla heels. I put on my Van Cleef bracelet on, and if his wife ever dared to question where I got these items, I would just tell her they were a gift from a friend. You see, this is the part in the story where I'm done playing nice, because I knew exactly what Mr. Hodges wanted. He wanted me. More importantly, he wanted my body. And he has still yet to have me in completion. So I knew the ball was in my court, and I was ready to play ball. As I took my luggage upstairs, Mrs. Hodges was in the living room. "Thank you for all you've done," Miss Hodges said. "Thank you for all you've done, Miss Hodges," I said, staring her dead in her face, wearing the things her man has bought me. "It was indeed nice to have you here, Sheila. You have done a great job, and I must apologize for my behavior last week. I overreacted." "That's okay, Mrs. Hodges. Really, that's water under the bridge." She then noticed the bracelet on my arm and said, "That's a beautiful bracelet you have on there." "Thank you. It was a gift from my dear friend," I replied. "Well, it's lovely," Mrs. Hodges said as she handed me my final paycheck. "I wish you well in your endeavors, and good luck in school." "Thank you, Mrs. Hodges," I replied. "I think my lift is about to pull up any moment now." The moment I said that, Mr. Hodges came walking in from his office. "Sheila, you're ready to go." "Yes, I am, Mr. Hodges," I replied. "Well, I want to thank you for working here, and you did a great job." "Thank you, Mr. Hodges," I responded. Then Marcella came from the garage and gave me a hug, and told me it was a pleasure working with me. "Likewise," I said. "Well, my lift is pulling up now. I am going to let them in." I answered the gate buzzer and let my lift driver in. Oh, 1 second. Yes, I answered the gate and let my lift driver in, and headed for the front door. "Let me help you with that," Mr. Hodges said as he took my luggage from me and took them down the steps to the car. The car then drove around to the front of the house. The lift driver hopped out and put my luggage in the trunk. "Bye, Mr. Hodges," I said, smiling at him. "Goodbye, Sheila," he said as he kept a straight face. When I got in the car, I texted Maria. We had planned the night prior to meet up at a place in town where I would pick her up and we would both be headed over to my apartment together. I told my mom I would see her on the weekend. My mom doesn't know that I have quit the job at the Hodges household, and I did not plan on telling her. I would just let her think I'm still working here until school started. Then I would tell her I left and got a part-time job while in school. I didn't want my mother to know that I'm a side bitch to my boss, especially. As the lift pulled up to the shopping center, I saw Maria standing there. I opened the door for her and let her in. Once she got in the car, she started screaming, "Sheila! Oh my God, you look so good, girl." I was excited to see her as well. I couldn't stop hugging her. It felt like a long-awaited reunion. She couldn't stop complimenting me on my glow up, and I had a little surprise for her as well. But it would have to wait until we got to the apartment. About half an hour later, the lift pulled up to my new home. This place was amazing. The security was airtight. It was gated, the grounds were well manicured, and my place had it going on, well, at least from the outside. I stopped into the leasing office and retrieved my keys from them and got back in the car. When the driver drove up to my brand new townhome, I got out, staring at my house in amazement. I couldn't believe it was all mine. Maria was speechless. She could not even speak. The driver took my bags to the door. I let myself in, and Maria started looking around. We checked out the place, and it was everything like the pictures. It was beautiful and spotless. But it was also empty, so of course I would have to go furniture shopping. I then turned to Maria and went into my bag and pulled out $5,000 and gave it to her. She started screaming, and she started making the money rain all over the floor. She was going on and saying how thankful she was and couldn't believe I would give her that much money. "Anything for you, Maria," I said. "You have been here for me through thick and thin, and it's your advice that got me in this place. Sheila, you're my friend. You've been my best friend since forever. You don't have to thank me, but I do have to thank you," Maria replied. "You stood by my side through my lowest days, and now that I'm coming up, I want you by my side, Maria," I assured her. Maria wasn't like any other bitch. She was nice, she was supportive, she spoke her mind, and she wasn't a hater either. Even through my darkest times, she stood by me and encouraged me. I could trust her with anything. "Give me a 360, Maria said. I then turned around and she started screaming again. She was a screamer. Got excited for the smallest victories, so this was just in her nature. "You look amazing. This life looks good on you," she said, as I was there, smiling. I couldn't stop smiling. What could I say? I was happy I was in a good place, and I was in my own place, above all. We then walked around the house and we checked it out. Everything seemed, as I said, just like the photos. And then I told Maria that we would be going on a shopping spree. So I called a Lyft and we headed to the mall. This mall wasn't your average mall. This mall had all the big stores. And since Maria was more into labels than I was, I just knew we were about to get some nice pieces. About a half hour later, we pulled up to one of the most prestigious malls in all of Alabama. And Maria immediately says, "Let's eat, because we're going to need fuel to do all the walking today." We then headed to the food court and got Chinese food as usual. Maria and I always had a good laugh and chat over some Chinese food. So we ordered the General Tso chicken with fried rice and egg rolls, of course. We cannot forget the egg rolls. "So, Maria, catch me up. What have you been up to?" "Well, I met a guy and he seems lit, but he's not that lit. He gives me a little money here and there, but I'm looking for a baller, a real baller." "I hear that," I responded. "Well, maybe you might pick up some nice rich guy while we're here in the mall today." "I hope so," Maria said, laughing. "But Sheila, tell me something. How on earth did you end up getting a maid position with no maid experience?" she asked, curious. "Well, to tell you the truth, it baffles me just as much as it baffles you. I saw the ad online and I saw what they were paying, and I just made up a story and it worked. Honestly, I didn't think I would get hired, but I wanted to take my chances. Well, you took a gamble and it definitely paid off, girl, Maria responded. I'm so happy for you. One second. I'm so happy for you. Now tell me about Mr. Hodges. Now that you're out of the house, I want all the juicy details. Wow, he's really nice. As you know, he's much older than I am, but he looks young, he's in shape, and he's sexy, I said as I started to describe Mr. Hodges. Most of all, girl, he's packing. That man has a big dick. Wait. Maria said, surprised. You're telling me that you already sat on it? No, girl, I said, laughing. I didn't sit on anything. I felt it while we were kissing, and his dick is hard every time he's around me. So, you've been catching feels? Maria asked. Girl, stop. I just wanted to know what I was working with. Is that a crime? I asked. Of course not, said Maria. After lunch, it was time to hit the stores. Maria, you take the lead. I don't know brands like that, I said. Say less, girl, Maria responded, and then she took me to Neiman Marcus and had me try on all types of clothing. Let's just say we ran the tab up. I got items such as Christian Louboutin shoes, dresses. I got 6 different fragrances ranging from Chanel to Dior. She definitely knew her way around the mall. I also encouraged her to get as much items as she wanted for herself, of course. She was being modest and only got a few things. And then she took me to Louis Vuitton, where I purchased a bag. It was a black leather bag with the LV logo on the front with chain straps. It was really cute. Maria picked out a bag for herself also. But hers had the LV print all over it. We had a blast shopping. We went from store to store picking out items. Then my phone rang. It was Mr. Hodges. Hey, baby, I said as I picked up. Hey, beautiful, he responded. What are you up to? He asked. I'm at the mall with my friend. Ah, you're shopping, he said jokingly. Yes, I am. Why didn't you tell me you were going to the mall? I would have given you some money, he asked. You still can, I responded jokingly. I promise to repay your entire shopping bill tonight. I promise to repay your entire shopping bill tonight. Yes, tonight I'm taking you out. Really? I said. Yes, I want us to get a room downtown and I'll give you the cash when I get there. As you know, I don't want a paper trail. Okay, no problem. So here's what you do. Call the Four Seasons and make a reservation. And I'll see you tonight around 8:30. Okay, baby, I'll talk to you later. See you soon, he said. Bye. We both hung up. Ah, so he's not wasting no time, is he? He wants to come over already, and you literally just left his place? Maria asked. What can I say? Girl, the heart wants what the heart wants. We both started laughing. So, does he give you cash every time he gives you money, she asked. Yes, he gives me only cash. He says he doesn't want a paper trail. Well, that's smart of him, Maria replied. I think we're done here. I'm exhausted. Same, so am I, said Maria. Are you coming back to my place, I asked. Well, I have a date tonight with the not-so-lit Nick. So, I'm going to catch up with him, but I promise I'll come back over this week. Okay. All right. Well, at least let me call you a lift. Okay, Maria responded. I called Maria's lift and waited with her outside the mall and saw her off. Then I called my lift as soon as she left, and then I headed home. Once I got home, I looked around in amazement. I still couldn't believe this place was all mine. I set my bags down and I went on my phone searching for the Four Seasons. I called them and made reservations just as Mr. Hodges had instructed. Tonight may be the night that I give up this. But it all depended on how much money he had for me. If it wasn't enough, then I would continue to string his ass out. If you guys have made it this far in the video, please thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. Around 8 p.m., I arrived at the Four Seasons. I checked in and got to my room. I was on the 15th floor. The suite was gorgeous. I've never been in a hotel room that looked like this. Everything was just so clean and pristine, and I was ready to have a good night. The linens on the bed were so soft, and the bed itself was super comfortable. By far the most comfortable I've ever laid on. The view was incredible, overlooking the beautiful city. It was like a dream come true. About half an hour later, Mr. Hodges texted me and told me that he was downstairs. I went downstairs to meet him. "Hey, Mike," I said, walking up to him. As he turned around and saw me, his eyes lit up. He gave me a hug and we entered the elevator. When we got to the room, he asked me, "How do you like the room?" "I love it, Mike," I responded. "Great, I knew you would. It's very comfortable. I've stayed here a few times on business." "Oh, so you're a regular here?" I asked. "You could say that," he responded. "Come here," he said, as he took me in his arms and gave me a passionate kiss on my lips. As he gave me a passionate kiss on my lips, he then let out a moan from feeling on my ass. I could tell he always admired my ass based on the way he always looked at me. "Did I ever tell you what I like most about you, Sheila?" he asked. "No, you haven't." "Well, it's your curves. I've never dated anyone as curvy as you," he admitted. "Your waist is so small, and you have these wide hips and a round butt that I just can't seem to take my eyes off of. You drive me wild with desire. Every time I see you, I can't stop staring," he said as he stared into my eyes. "Well, thank you. Now I know I'll have to keep this body up since it drives you wild," I joked. "Please do," he said, smiling. "Oh, I have something for you," he said as he reached into his leather portfolio. He handed me an envelope. "This is $20,000. He said, "This is to buy your furniture and to reimburse you for the room and your shopping spree today. I think you should go ahead and stay here for a few days until the furniture gets delivered so you can be nice and comfortable." "Thank you." I couldn't believe it. I was speechless. This room costs $400 plus for the night. I didn't think you would want me to stay for more than one night, being that it's so expensive. "Sheila, this is nothing. I want you to be comfortable. It may be a while before the furniture gets delivered, so go ahead and stay here. I'll pay the front desk for you." "Thank you, Mike," I said, blushing. I'm not gonna lie. My panties were soaked. Every time this man handed me cash, it felt like Christmas all over again. Every time he handed me money, I could feel myself getting worked up more and more, and my attraction to this man grew. It's safe to say that receiving cash was my love language. I'm feeling a little tired. Can we just stay in an order? I asked him. Sure. I had made reservations for us, but since you want to stay here, we can, he said. Okay, so how about we order room service? He asked. Sure, that's perfect. I really like the Wagyu burger that they have here, so you can go ahead and order that for me with a side of fries and a Coke, and also get me a molten lava cake. Okay, I ordered the same thing Mr. Hodges got. Since he said the burger was good, I figured why not get it since I'm a burger type of girl. So I ordered the Wagyu burger for myself with french fries and a Pepsi as well. And Mr. Hodges then told me to go ahead and order some champagne. I said, champagne? Yes, champagne. We're celebrating. We're celebrating us finally being able to be alone. Okay, I said. About 25 minutes later, the food arrived. We sat down at the table while overlooking the beautiful view of the city. We spoke about everything pretty much from decorating the townhouse to my schooling. After I finished eating, he invited me to come over and sit on his lap. I went over and did just that. Then I could feel him getting hard once again, which was nothing new. At this point, he always got hard while he was around me. He even started to kiss me, and I could feel his hand going down my thighs. I'm not going to lie. I wanted it bad, and I wasn't about to stop him tonight. After all, we were alone, and we were not in his home, so this is the perfect opportunity to put this pussy on him. I then stood up and held his hand and walked over to the bed. When I got to the bed, I spread my legs wide open, and you could see he was drooling with excitement. He then opened my legs and started kissing my thighs. He then held my legs and started kissing my thighs, then slowly worked his way to my pussy. I let out a moan. It was more like a moan plus a sigh of relief and excitement. Something I could not fully explain. Let's just say I was in heaven. Then he worked his way up to my breast and had his tongue flicking on my nipples. Not in an aggressive way, but very gently. While he was licking on my nipples, he had his middle finger edging my pussy. And then he used his thumb and twirled it on my clit. I got soaking wet. I couldn't stop moaning in ecstasy. He then started kissing me after licking my nipples. That's when I lost it. I couldn't help it anymore. I eased up and told him to lay down on the bed. As I straddled him, I started undoing his pants, and I pulled them down. His big, long, thick cock flew out, almost hitting me in the face. It was so hard and standing at attention. It was so hard and stood at attention. I began to lick his nipples, and he moaned so loud and was like, "Yes, Sheila, yes." As I licked his nipples, I stroked his cock, which made him squirm even more. This man could not help himself at all. I then worked my way down and started licking the tip of his juicy, long dick. He started moaning like crazy. I could feel his dick throbbing every time I would lick the tip. I started giving him a sloppy ass blowjob. He almost lost it. And every time I thought about the 20K that was sitting over there in my purse, I upped the ante a little bit more. I wanted him on cloud 9. When I thought about the townhouse, I would suck it hard. When I thought about everything he has ever done for me, I sucked it a little harder. When I thought about the car that I would be getting, I sucked it that much harder. Eventually, he busted in my mouth. When I thought about the money, I swallowed every drop. And there you have it. That was chapter 8 of Into Deep, Gambling for a Married Man's Heart. Stay tuned for chapter 9. I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. Bye.